Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Esteemed FaceTime with Leaders, an initiative by World Development Corporation. I'm Sunny Pancholi, anchor at World Development Corporation. FaceTime with Leaders is a platform for industry titans to share their experiences, thoughts, ideas, and best practices in order to inspire one another and future leaders. In a nutshell, we attempt to encapsulate the multi-decadal learnings acquired by these industry leaders. We also hope that by conducting these FaceTime with Leaders interviews, we can bring together a global community of eminent personalities. By bringing together such visionaries on one platform, we hope to play a part in inspiring the lives of other leaders. Great learnings from great leaders undoubtedly assist everyone by identifying, nurturing, and using the trade secrets that are proven success formulas for many. And this is what we aim for with these sessions by making them a gathering of industry stalwarts and a knowledge sharing community. We have one such industry giant on FaceTime with Leaders with us today, Mr. Suman Kumar Jha. With a career spanning over 2 decades, he has exemplified his prowess across diverse industries, including retail, ITES, energy, automobile, and manufacturing, owing to his unwavering commitment to enhancing commercial value, coupled with his profound expertise in lean manufacturing, Six Sigma, Agile methodologies, and production industrial engineering. His journey has been marked by transformative achievements, continued professional developments, and a relentless pursuit of operational excellence. Currently, he is serving as Global Improvement Lead, overseeing sectors and decarbonization at Shell India Markets Private Limited. Welcome to FaceTime with Leaders. We appreciate your willingness to share your knowledge and engage in this conversation. So, Mr. Jha, could you let our viewers know in brief about your career journey so far?
Yes, of course. I think you mentioned career journey, so maybe I prefer to start from the beginning. So it all starts with my qualification. So my primary qualification is BTech in production engineering. And after that, I think it was a different, completely changing experience, life-changing experience as a BTech production engineer. It opened up my mind. It made me analytical, pragmatic, yet innovative in nature. And these are the foundational value system on professional front that I still carry on with me. But then there has been a lot of things that happened along the way, and which has been really augmenting my value system on the professional front. So I worked on Bokaro Steel Plant. In my very first role, it was basically a part of the qualification that I was going through, which was a 5-year course actually. And in Bokaro Steel Plant, I did work on a couple of very key projects, which was towards value engineering. So very early on in my career, I had this experience as a young person, immediately out of the college, still in the university, that I could realize the pain points that an industry faces and how desperate they are always to really improve upon them. Yeah, so. It was 2 projects that I did were really crucial. One was raw material and material handling plant. So Bokaro Steel Plant at that time was a 4 million ton plant. It had a capacity of 10 million tons, a huge plant. And they were using at least 48 kilometers of conveyor belt. And you can imagine, they were always eroding and always replacing. So I worked on a project to improve the life of the conveyor belt, and also in the sintering plant, wherein we improved the life of the horn, which really breaks the sinter, which is fed into the blast furnace. Very key, very technical projects. And I really loved them, enjoyed them. And that actually shaped my mindset that I went into the field of lean and Six Sigma and everything that really matters to the organization, improving their processes. So being a production engineer, I was not really keen to continue my career in the steel industry. I was very, very much interested in automobile industry, and that's where I got an opportunity in one of the sister company or supplier company of Maruti, and I decided to join that. It was Jai Bharat Maruti. I worked in the exhaust system areas, and also the supplies to defense system, which was actually supplying lubrication system and many other parts to to manufacture T-72 battle tanks, and I enjoyed that as well. A lot of things I still recall, and that excites me. Then I moved on to Ford Motor Company. So that was the tier 1 company that I got an opportunity to work on. I worked in Ford for quite some time, about 6, 7 years. and all the traditional roles, as well as really learn a lot about manufacturing processes, a lot about the quality, continuous improvement, lean, Six Sigma. And it was in Ford Motor Company that I was certified. I got certified as black belt and master black belt in Six Sigma from Six Sigma Academy. So a fantastic career over there, fantastic experience. I work in traditional roles like, actually in my first role, it was dimensional integrity engineer. Yeah. And it is very interesting because for dimensional integrity of the car body, you can see that these days there's so much complex shape we have for car bodies. And then you have to fit more than 5,000, 6,000 parts into that body. The dimensional integrity for every single point and hole is very, very important. And I was given this responsibility of setting this team and the department. It was one of its kind in Asia, first time, yeah, that we use this coordinate measuring machines and product design and graphic systems and things like that to establish this department. It was highly successful. Later, we actually took the technology and the learnings to China as well when Ford went to China. So that was my first role, very inspiring role, and it was always a great feeling to really contribute to this whole setting up of Ford Motor Company, first indigenous plant for them, first plant that they were operating. Good experience. Then I also went into the traditional roles like production manager, where I have this experience of improving the OEE, which is called the overall equipment efficiency. That's how we measure the efficiency of a stamping plant, from improving that from somewhere around 50% to 85%, which was a global best in class type of thing, world class type of thing in Ford world. So again, very good experience. I moved on to as a body launch manager as well. So you may recall Endeavor. These days, Ford has actually given up; they don't manufacture. But that time, it was a big thing to come up with a second car for Ford. Yeah, we had for a long time it was Ford Icon in the market, and Ford did not have a second car. And this was an SUV on top of it, and I was the launch manager. And it was an amazing experience. While I was doing my black belt certification, master black belt certification, I was also managing the project as a launch manager for Endeavor, which was an SUV. Now, there are very critical aspects there. Why these things really still excite me when I talk about them? Because, I mean, getting the second vehicle into the Ford market, in India market from Ford was not easy, right? I mean, you know how these big companies, decisions happen. They happen somewhere in the headquarters, and they have to go through the calculations. What is the NPV? What is the return on investment? And you get struck off. And that's how this whole discussion was going on. And what role I can play in this was something that I thought about, and then it was very, very easy to contribute there, in the sense that I changed a lot of things in the process. The way we use the supplier we changed, and we reduced the cost by nearly 20%, after which this was successful. And it is a history after that. A lot of things that we did actually, Ford continued to use that in the longer term later on as well. So that's how we had more and more vehicles coming up, because we cracked that way of keeping the cost of the project down, and not to go by exactly what is prescribed at the central level. So yeah, we have limited time. I can talk about all those stories, but we'll move on. I also then moved on to being a qualified master black belt, Six Sigma master black belt. It was the time when ITES industry was coming up. You may recall at that time, and there was a very, very strong pull for people with these kind of skills, like process, Six Sigma, black belt, and it's strong pull outside of Ford Motor Company. So it was not only me, but all my team members have been pulled out. And yeah, then the way the company was working, we were not looking for any external hiring. So that's how I also came out. And I worked in HP after that for some time, couple of years, as a quality head for setting up their e-business service center in Chennai. And also in Dell Computers as a global process engineer for business process improvement for their call center. You know how Dell works. They have a call center and they give you online services. So how do we really improve those processes? And I have interesting experience there as well, which I, of course, utilized later on when in Shell and in other roles. So after that, my heart was still with the brick and mortar type of company rather than software type of company and all that. So when there was an opportunity in Shell, energy sector, and India was already kind of hungry about energy and infrastructure and things like that, I decided to move into Shell. Yeah, so but it was in finance, and I mean you probably can see that my career has been in many different areas and different fields and functions and industries and all that. So this was a new industry, not only new industry, but new function. I was going to be a CI manager for finance organization. And I had no prior background in finance, especially as a master black belt. Of course, I oversee some of the projects my black belts were doing in finance department. But personally, I had not worked in that sense. So a great opportunity out there. And I told my hiring manager, look, I have no finance background and he was still interested. So I'm a little bit intrigued, but I want to be very honest. And he said, Suman, exactly the reason why we would like to hire you, because we are not looking for finance people to do my process improvement in finance. We're looking for somebody who comes from process background and improves our processes and takes it to the next level. I said, okay, so done deal, let's go. And it was what a journey it was. It was really a traditional finance department in Shell. I can just give you just for a sense check that you can really feel what it was. I would go to a finance manager, and on the face, I would be told that, look, I think what you are talking about is like manufacturing kind of things. And I know you are an engineer, you're coming from Ford and other places. This is not where we are going to apply these things. Yeah. But that was a great revealing over a period of time that actually quality problems, process problems, things that need to be improved and work at a better level is always there everywhere in finance as well. And in fact, in business processes, you have more opportunities than actually manufacturing. Over a long period of last 100 years, manufacturings have gone to the very different level. They have everything measured, everything seen, transparent. You have data you can act on and make things better. But in the business processes, things are hidden. You don't see the problems. And it was a great experience there as a finance CI manager. But then my heart, I worked there for about 5-6 years, but my heart was still there in, as I said, old economy company where real actions actually happen. So I was always looking for opportunity within Shell to get into main business front, and which I got. I moved into upstream America's deep water business in Gulf of Mexico, based out of New Orleans. So I was the CI manager for UAD, and again, great experience in trying to improve processes of how we drill wells in there, how to do really logistics into the deep seas in the Gulf of Mexico, and then do exploration. So we have about 9 platforms there at that point of time. Shell had that. Then I moved into the retail network, which is about the gas stations that we set. So this retail network department has the responsibility of setting gas stations in different countries. So they do all these kind of analysis about where to come up with your stations, which station to dispose of, and things like that. And I was a CI, global CI manager for that. It gave me an opportunity to work with many different countries, go there, do projects. And one thing that I always feel proud of in this role is that I changed the mindset completely of the people about this project cycle time. Yeah, so projects were taking really long time. And people thought it is just natural. I mean, anytime you build it, after that, we are going to sell anyways. So there wasn't a focus on that area, but I think the kind of work that I did, and later on, I think it became a second nature of every leader there that yes, cycle time is really, really important. And more than nearly 40-50% in every country that I travel in big project, ranging from all exotic locations, Mexico, Indonesia, Philippines, China, Russia, many different places. And then we improved the processes in different countries, and it was really important because Shell had and still has this ambition of taking their retail site numbers to more than 20% higher what it was at that point. So growth was clearly a very big on agenda. And unless you do these things, that you speed up your projects and things like that and make it really streamlined and much more effective execution, you would not do that. And it would just be on the paper. And I see many such examples there. Yeah, moving on, I think then I moved on to, for the last couple of years, as a global improvement lead for Sectors and Decarbonisation. Actually, now it has been named as low carbon solutions. And this is again a different kind of experience. Yeah? So that's about my career journey. Along the way, I also picked up a lot in my qualification to augment what I was learning, what I was doing. So as I told you, when I got into a finance type of role, I didn't just rely on what my boss, hiring manager, told me that I want your process background. I really wanted to know finance. So I did a diploma in business finance from ICFAI University. Then I did a EGMP, Executive General Management program from IIM Bangalore. And then over the period of time, as you know, CI, Lean, Six Sigma, Agile, they have evolved. It has become now digital person. You cannot separate these things. And all the process improvements that you are doing has to be augmented by digital opportunities. One way, and the other way is that you cannot just go away and do digital for the sake of doing digital, right? I think it has to be merged, and I think it's a great opportunity. So I did PG leadership program in digital transformation from Purdue University, and that's how my journey has been. And now, of course, digital directorship there.
Amazing, amazing, Mr. Jha. Thank you for the excellent start to this interview. It's an honor to interact with someone who exudes such a strong corporate personality. All right, so continuing our conversation, our viewers would like to know, which of your job roles have you faced difficulties with and which have you enjoyed the most?
See, apparently the most challenging ones have always been the most enjoyable ones, yeah? And I mean, if you see the kind of roles that I have been doing, it's about solving problems, right? It is about making things better, challenging status quo, and then influencing stakeholders. I mean, challenging status quo when things are in your control is a different thing altogether, yeah? But challenging status quo when things are in somebody else's control, like business leaders, senior leaders, and all that, and you have to go and challenge them and make them really believe that you should be doing things differently, and I'll help you in that. It's a different kind of challenge, yeah? So, and almost in every role, I had faced that challenge. I told you the story of the Ford Motor Company. I mean, I have a role, but I can't deliver because things get rejected in the corporate house. And how do you take it? I mean, do I just sit down and go, it is not getting approved and say like that, or do something about it? Yeah. So it was challenge there, but I mean, what we did eventually was great. Yeah. So that's how it made the thing really interesting. Yeah. So I can go back in the career. And for every role, I can tell you what made it challenging and what made it interesting at the same time. But let me, for the sake of the time that we have and the options, so many options that we have, I will select a couple of those, and one from my early career and one from recent ones. The early career in JBM, Jai Bharat Maruti, that I was working on, straight out from the college, couple of year experience, you know, what kind of situations you are in. And then I came across something which was very interesting because this company, JBM, was making, supplying lubrication system and driver and paratrooper seat for to defense for making this T-72 battle tanks, you know. So lubrication system is very, very important because everything is pressure operated and it has to operate really smooth. You can't expect in the battlefield for things to get jammed, right? And the driver and paratrooper seat, it is something like a driver comes out of the tank, sees things, and then immediately it should go down. So there's a spring mechanism in there and very special type of alloy material being used in that. And these two things. But we were not supplying it. I mean, the orders were pending for 3-4 years. And I would see from my whatever role I had that sometimes defense personnel will come, go to the managing director, have discussion, go out, somebody will be pulled in and discuss, but the things will not move. And that's where once when I got into discussion and my manager was discussing, Suman, can you do something? Can you do? I knew that this is a problem coming my way. But I said, okay, no, fine, why not? I will work on it. And what a work it was. Yeah. So I worked on every aspect of the thing. There were more than 700, 800 parts going into that small lubrication system. Similarly, driver and paratrooper seat had around 300 to 400 parts, and all really highly technical. It was a Russian design. And all these parts were being supplied by the suppliers who are, because these are 100, 200, 500 numbers. I mean, you are not going to get great suppliers. It is a local suppliers, and some really uneducated, not knowing, and some really educated. The whole range of spectrum of their qualification skill was there. So I had to really do that mapping of all the suppliers, understand all the parts, go to the technical manuals of Russian technical manual to understand all the systems, and then work on it with the suppliers collaboratively. And one more thing that was supposed to be done is driver and paratrooper seat and that lubrication system all were aluminum made. The alloy was of aluminum based, mainly because to keep the weight less in the tank. Yeah, you don't want to make it heavy. And getting these aluminums welding is very difficult job. I mean, it has to be done manually, very skilled. Maybe I had workers there were about 60-year-old, 55-year-old, and they were doing, will take time. In one day, they will take one, and then you check it, and there are quality issues. Now, all these problems, but I solved it. I supplied all the pending orders within the next 6 months. We automated the aluminum welding. I had to really read through the entire aluminum welding about how you can mix the different proportion of gas and do and automate the things. Worked absolutely fine. And I'm very proud of that. Yeah. So again, a challenging role, difficult role. I was almost thinking like this is the role, this is the job I'm going to get ultimately to be branded as a failure because this is nobody has solved it so far. But I succeeded. Yeah. So that's fantastic. And then again, the Lean Sigma implementation in finance in Shell, I already told you, I had that rehension. I told my hiring manager, look, I think I don't have any background in finance. I'm getting into a different organization, different function, with the people having no background in continuous improvement, and then changing the culture of that organization completely over a period of time that I was there. And it is one of the best functioning department in Shell where continuous improvement is still thriving and people respect it and is a part of the value system. So yeah, interesting, challenging role, but making it interesting. Enjoyed that.
Interesting, quite interesting. So, building on that, would you like to tell us how have you been? You have been honored with several accolades. So, which of them do you regard as your biggest achievement?
Yeah, you're talking about accolades. I have to pick something where it has been done formally. But look, I think every job well done is a big accolade in itself, and that brings you a big satisfaction. And I have always looked for that in all the job I have given. I think probably you have sensed that the kind of examples I have shared with you, and I have those kind of examples in almost every role here. But here, for the sake of the question that you have asked, I will really pick a couple of ones where I was formally recognized in Shell, and these are like CFO award and CEO award. I have been the recipient for both the recognitions. The CFO recognition, and it really matters to me, and I'm really proud of it, is because it was on the front of people management skills. So I was the team manager, and based on, I mean, every year Shell has this Shell People Survey where you get the employee pulse, you know about them. And in that survey, I had a global role. I had people from many different countries reporting to me in my team, nearly about a team of 23 people overall in the hierarchy, 2 levels. Different countries, 6 centers in Krakow, in Glasgow, Philippines, Malaysia, and all of these people reported in the survey as me getting employee satisfaction index for me was 99%. That was amazing. And that was unbelievable to many people. Even today, if I talk to a leader, even in Shell, they get so amazed, although we are doing really good, much better than what we were doing at that time. So, yeah, so that was kind of revealing the way I manage team and how people have recognized my leadership and how company recognized my leadership. Yes, that was CFO award I really cherish a lot. And then it came the opportunity of getting a CEO award when I was in retail network role. Along with a team of a few other people, we worked on something which helped improve the safety performance of the company in the construction sites. And, you know, Shell values safety a lot. It's in our value system. And that really went to the level of winning a CEO award. So I had the opportunity to really have this conversation with CEO at that time, Ben Van Werden, face to face, and that was amazing. I really loved that.
All right, very inspirational. So now that we have discussed your career journey, your professional pursuits, roles and responsibilities, accolades, let's move on to another subject. Let's move on to ESG and corporate governance subject. So, what roles or functions have you served that kindled your interest in corporate governance? That is part A. And B is, could you let our viewers know about some decisive measures you have taken while serving in leadership roles?
Yes, I mean, I wouldn't really want to attribute this to just a couple of roles. Yeah, I think instead I see this as an evolution that has happened over a period due to my experiential background in a very diverse business and operational environment with a focus on continuous improvement, operational excellence, lean, Six Sigma, now digital space as well, and all working with senior leaders. I think in every role that we played, and I gave you this hint earlier also. I think I not only have to work with senior leaders, but influence them and challenge them in many situations. Yeah. So that nurturing and that journey always was behind this, where I got into this mindset. So I would say my entire career has exposed me to the fact of with this about this how financial performance is really important for any company, and it all depends on my personal view is how good you are at operational excellence, yeah? How good you are in operating the business. Yeah? There will always be new things coming up that you can leverage for your advantage, but how the things that are already in place, you are really making them work efficiently and more effectively is very important, right? So things like cost, quality, delivery to customer delivery on time and things like that, safety, environment and society, employee morale, customer satisfaction. All of these will always be important. Yeah, important. I mean, yeah, you work the business, you manage the business to earn profit, but all of these things, if you keep it right and in place where it should be, you'll always do better. Yeah, and it's always a competitive advantage, and people have to, directors and senior leaders have to understand this, that they can go and do the investment, whatever they want, see the new opportunities, but always be mindful that I need to keep these things intact. So that's strongly embedded into my value systems. And as these things really decide how the health of the business is, yeah. So I personally tell you that because of the experience, because of the learning, and in many different learnings that I had, I can sense the decisions many times taken at the board level can really make a big difference in how the organizational operational excellence really operates. And this is actually a very challenging phase for all of us in every industry. We are having two big changes that's already happening. One on the technology front and the digital space, and things are always evolving. Other on the energy front, like low carbon expectations are really pushing companies. I'm talking about related to my industry. Yeah. So these things that board will need to be guided properly about the changing environment. I mean, what we need to be there is always keep our antennas really high and to see where we can really tap things that can really go and help you in the business, yeah, so that you are perfectly in the operational excellence where you should be, and that can be a great competitive advantage. Many times you can miss because of the board is probably falling behind in taking decisions, and that can really impact decisively the future of the company. I mean, it can decide whether you will come out to be a Kodak. Yeah, you know Kodak. I think not many people know that Kodak was the inventor of digital camera, and nobody really knows Kodak actually nowadays, because the board or the directors there or the CEOs, they thought maybe the film is not going to go away, right? The Kodak film, because that was popular and it was the biggest company. So you can be a Kodak, just vanish because you took a wrong decision at the wrong time, or you can be a Netflix because you're taking the right decision at the right time, leveraging all the opportunities that you have. Now, these are the big things always available in the outside market, but personal experience, I can tell you that quite a few moments where I thought, I mean, how can you really get into taking such decisions at the leadership level? And I'll give you one example. When I was working in one of the earlier roles, the leaders were actually discussing how to come up with a new warehouse to keep our spare parts. And we already had two, and we were discussing to coming up with a warehouse to a third warehouse, so that because we have gone out of the storage of that space. And we, from lean background, we know that an inventory is actually a sin. I mean, if you have an inventory in your organization or company, you are actually losing money. So I always see from that lens. And then I discuss, challenge in the sense that, look, why is the need for third warehouse? You have two warehouses. From my sense of it, if you create space for inventory, you will build inventory. You will buy things and you will keep there. How is it going to add value? And when we got deeper, when I was asked to really investigate deeper into it, we realized that other two warehouses are really full because we have spare parts kept there that we have never been using. A lot of them are really rusted. A lot of them were unfound when they were needed. So they bought anyway on urgency directly from the supplier because it is urgent. We need to get things running now and please send it because they could not locate the spare parts there. And now we are looking for a third warehouse. I mean, right solution really is get rid of the other two warehouses as well, just in time. And implement the process of just in time. You will save some millions of dollars out there by just getting into the right way of working with your suppliers you can contract with them, maybe a little higher price. That's fine. But supply me within this much time the spare parts. That's the right way of working. That's the right lean way of working. So this is just a one solution. Another, maybe I can tell you the decision that I influenced, maybe is important. I mean, this is a digital era. Everybody wants to do digital, but you cannot do digital for the sake of digital. You can't have a mandate coming from leadership and go and say, okay, we are going digital and let's digitalize things. That's not the right way to do it. I mean, the right way to do it is focus on your business, what your business wants. A business wants all that I mentioned to you, the cost, quality, safety, customer satisfaction, all that performance have to happen. And if it is not, change the business, change your process. First, streamline your process, look for the problems, get rid of the waste that we have, and then digitalize and improve the process. If you go and digitalize a bad process, if you do the digital transformation of the process, which is really not good, your performance is still going to be bad. In fact, you will get and buy in bargain another problem that you will keep doing revisions and things like that and all that in future. So you have additional work without really getting the benefit or maybe very minimal benefit. And that is the problem I see almost in many industries. People go for it, but then they start really looking for upgrades very soon and things like that. So that's actually not the problem of what the digitalization they did or digital transformation they did. It's a problem of they did it without really fixing the problem. So that's it.
Amazing. So insightful of you. So before we conclude our discussion on this subject, I would like to ask you, as a digitally upskilled corporate governance expert, what values do you bring along?
Let me start with a short story. I give you a sense of, what some of the things that I mentioned already. But let me start with a short story. So, when refrigeration as a concept was invented, who benefited most? It wasn't the refrigerator manufacturing company. They made some money, or the company who invented, they made some money. The biggest beneficiary of that was who knew how to use this. And that was Coca-Cola, right? Coca-Cola, where you refrigerate things and make people to drink that and really cherish their experience of drinking Coca-Cola. And that's how they made money. So, well, I give you some of the example here that, look, I bring the experience of seeing the problems in the business, where really the opportunity lies and how you can really focus on your business performance, operational excellence, a very keen eye on that and understanding of that. And then you bring digital understanding together and see that where and how it should be really implemented. So implementing digital in the right manner is a key. Any company who will do it will incur less cost of transformation and higher benefit of this transformation. So that's something which I think I'm proud of that I can do it with such a vast experience in different industry, different functions, different roles, and different kind of responsibilities. Yeah, so ranging from the steel industry to exploration business to retail and all of that. So point wise, what do I bring? Knowledge and understanding of the situation of the digital transformation. A very learner and seeker mindset. Yeah, continuously looking for opportunities. I mentioned that earlier. Any company who is, and this Coca-Cola example was good. I mean, just because somebody comes and digitalizes your processes and system, you're not going to get benefit. You're going to get benefit out of continuously looking for opportunities, how you can leverage this opportunity in the right manner so that business makes bigger strides into that. So that's very important. So learner and seeker mindset, continuously looking for opportunities and new ways of working, and looking for adding value by doing that. I have given some examples from my career as well that I think this mindset has always been there. A very deep appreciation of where you should apply digital and where you should not. Yeah, I mean, it is also very, very important. End-to-end value chain mindset. Yeah, I think if you go and a company wants to go and apply things and apply digital, you can do many things. You can do RPAs, you can do artificial intelligence, machine learning here, you can do IoT. A lot of things are available. But in isolation, if you do everything here and there and all of that, they will not really add up and give you the biggest bang for your money. So it has to be really end-to-end mindset. And I have personally in my career, I give you the network example and the later on this example as well. I have experience of really end-to-end transformations, which is very, very important. And all those transformation, I have this experience of really applying digital where it was really necessary, right? In the construction industry, and it's so many, I mean, those transformations brought up so many changes, which were digital in nature. But actually, what we did was improve our process. Yeah, digital just happened to be there as a solution, and we leveraged that. So that's how it is.
Right. So moving along, since we are talking about digitalization and technology landscape, here is my next for you. What are some of the most remarkable changes you have seen in your field with changes in technology? And what changes do you expect to see with the advent of IoT, AI, ML, blockchain, Web 3.0, big data, etc.?
Yeah, let me start with a very high level. I think I mentioned about that. The changes that are happening in my industry and even otherwise at a very high level is two areas. One is the digital technologies evolution. Yeah. And other is energy space. A low carbon world we are all looking for. And there's a lot of changes happening in energy space, new energy, low carbon energy. I'll not go there. I'll keep myself to the digital technology space and how it is happening. And in my industry, the oil and gas industry, there's a lot actually being. By the way, oil and gas industry was a little late into this journey, but they have now done a lot of things, a lot of examples there that we can really look into. So starting with like advanced analytics, operational excellence space that I talked about, which is so dear to me, supply chain. So we have some of the areas where we use supply chain a lot in the defense business and other areas affects there. We can use cloud-based software and keep our infrastructure costs really, really low. In the exploration area, in the sectors, I talked about Gulf of Mexico, but even otherwise, on land exploration also in seismic data analytics. And we are really doing high level of very fast analytics in there. Predictive maintenance is very dear to me as well, because a lot of projects that we did was on the maintenance space, so we reduce the cost. And that could be really very, very powerful because you are not only making the life of the machines and longer, but actually you are also improving the productivity. I recall this example of Machine Max, which is Shell, along with in collaboration with another company, came up with. And what it does, it's like a smart watches that we wear, right? I think do you wear a smartwatch? If you do, I think probably you would know how useful it is in terms of knowing how much calorie you have burned, what is your heart rate, what is your many different things. And that gives you a sense of where you are, exactly, and what actions you should be taking. Now, this machine max is something like that. Before, I mean, you can put it into the machine and it collects the data all the time and it feeds you about where the station is, how much power it is consuming using the Internet of Things principle, utilization of the machine, where it is idle, when it is working, what kind of problems it has faced in the past. And all these data then goes into the cloud and somebody somewhere is doing this analytics and you are fed back into the analytics that you can take right decision at the right time. And this is where, after using this, that people realize that, look, I think we were selling lubricants to the companies to make their machine life longer, but their actual problem is productivity. They want a higher productivity, right? I mean, you buy the machine, of course, machine's life is important, but the productivity is equally important, even more important, because your company is filing quarterly reports and your financial statements are much more important in that sense. So you have to balance that. Yeah, so those kind of things. Then there are other stuff in the gas and oil and gas industries. We have huge pipelines that we do. We have infrastructure, manufacturing plants, and there is always a use of Internet of Things kind of concept. The drones, for example, drones can go and inspect the pipelines so easily for a long, long distance. Otherwise, you have to do it manually over a period of months and all that. But it can be done in days and quickly finished. Asset monitoring in different places that can use the IoT and the drilling machine, drilling areas, exploration, all of that in extreme conditions. You don't need to really have manpower out there and doing it. So these are the areas really we can do it. If you come in the business process areas, the RPAs, the intelligent automation, these are the things actually when I speak, we are really doing some of those things already. Competency and capability building. I mean, you can use gamification, come up with learning modules and solutions which really engages your audience to learn easily while they are still interested and things like that. Digital twins. You don't need to really go into the factory. You have sitting on the desktop. I think you can do lots and lots of analysis and keep your assets really up to date. Then augmented reality and virtual reality, things like that. And I have personally used that. I think when we come up with, I told you about the retail sites. I think the way we come up with is we don't only do all the analysis and set up a construction. We actually do the analysis beforehand by looking into the factory, the design. It comes on a virtual screen, and you can really do all sorts of analysis, how the people are moving, how cars are coming, how the people, different vehicles will come to fill different things. All of that, you can do virtual analysis, and it is all done. You can, all of that. And then finally, I think, actually, other good example that I recall was when I was doing this project of this construction space of speeding up the project execution. We did quite a few things where we can use this AR headset, and people can be on site looking at the machines, and everything is visually, and somebody doing analysis in the office, yeah, which is hugely powerful. Because earlier it used to be like, even if when you have to go to issue a work permit, some engineer from office in one location or Bangalore or Chennai have to travel to somewhere else in another state. Yeah, and every time it has to be done because he has to issue a work permit because we don't have adequate authority person there. Yeah. Now this can be done. We have changed the process. We have virtually, you can look into it and look the HRs, look everything, and but you can just imagine how much of convenience it brought to the whole process and how much of savings it would brought into the process, plus also accuracy, the performance, and the kind of work we are doing. You can validate the work immediately after that virtual. So all of these is a great example that can be really applied. And finally, the area is the blockchain. There in oil and gas industry, we are doing a lot of trading in Shell, also in another industry where you are doing the transactions. How can we make it secure, transparent, and something that nobody can pause? And this really brings in a lot of confidence and trust in the system when you apply that. I mean, I think we are still in the nascent stage. I don't think we have leveraged the full potential of blockchains kind of thing, but it is there. Yeah. So these are the industry technology front. But you know what? Because of all of these developments that are happening, there are certain things which are happening otherwise also as a change in the behavioral front in ways of work. And that is something that we need to be mindful as well. And I would say a biggest change that I see here is having a learner mindset. Yeah? I mean, learner mindset about everything that is coming up and changing. I mean, if you don't have it, you will be left with mindset. Learner mindset, leading through relationship, understand the power shift. I mean, power is not going to be any longer with the CEO of the company, right? The CEOs or their directors, they are not powerful today. Yeah, they have a hierarchy, they have a responsibility. Of course, they have bigger responsibility than somebody at the lower level. But power is with the people who are with the data, who are really operating with that, who are really busy analyzing that. And CEOs are job responsibility. And like in the past, I think if you are a CEO, you will probably have the most information because somebody has shared that with you, right? So power shift in the organization needs to be understood, and people really have to come up with that human centric approach of working. Digital is going to be in the day-to-day life. I mean, how you interact with people, how you lead people. A lot will depend on how digital savvy you are. Yeah, because in the next generation, I think you have to really apply that in the way you work, and that is going to shape up the leadership behavior as well. I mean, if you are shy of using digital stuff, probably you will miss on how you engage with your people. And then finally, I think this is the era of minimum viable product, MVPs as we call it, and excellence, not an era of perfection and proven products. Yeah? So in the past, unless the product is completely ready, it doesn't go into the market and everything is secret. But in this era, I think it's about get the minimum viable product, get into this, experiment, go to there, fail fast, and focus on excellence rather than really perfection. Yeah. So please.
Thank you, Mr. Jha, for sharing your take on the technology landscape. And it was really insightful of you. All right, so this brings us to the last question of the session. And here it is. We are building a community of industry magnates. The move is meant for cross-pollination of knowledge and building a knowledge-sharing community of corporate giants and industry experts. So what are your thoughts about these initiatives taken by Mr. Zishan Pathan, Mr. Hevel Mehta, and the whole team of World Development Corporation?
This is amazing. Yeah, I mean, you recall the concept of learner mindset I mentioned earlier, right? I think that's where I come from, and that's where my belief is. So I think it's a revolutionary idea. We need to understand that we are now in a very different era, which is changing all the time, getting disrupted all the time, and every moment. I mean, in the past, you could have had very big secret, and you will keep that as a secret, and that could act as a competitive advantage to you. It's not going to be like that anymore. I mean, people who are like that is going to fail, and they're going to be lagging behind. The successful people are certainly going to be who are sharing and who are learning, and based on that sharing and learning, then putting the pieces together and coming up with something new, which is much more beneficial to them. So I think that's very, very important, and that will bring the competitive advantage, disproportionate competitive advantage. And we need a forum like that where really industry leaders are open in sharing what they're doing, what is happening, not only what has already happened, and collaborate and leverage from each other or learn from each other, and then spend their effort and energy and money in something which can be even better. Yeah, so fantastic. I think this is the need of the day, and probably this is going to shape up how we'll work in future. So it's good for industry, good for our country. Absolutely.
Great, Mr. Jha. It was fantastic conversing with you, and I'm confident that your insights will inspire future leaders. Thank you, Mr. Suman Kumar Jha, for joining us today. Wish you the best for your future endeavors. Moreover, trust that this initiative by Directors Institute has unquestionably expanded the participants' understanding and enriched the minds.
Thank you, Sunny. I really enjoyed the conversation with you. Thank you very much.
Likewise. Thank you so much. Have a nice day.